Hello English learners. My full name is Javlanbek Toshboltaev and I will be your online tutor in this channel. So let me introduce my video lessons. First, you can improve your speaking skills by learning some crucial phrases and vocabulary and idioms, which are the inseparable part of every language in the world, and examples will be provided for all above mentioned words and word groups. Now let's start the first tutorial. So in this first online lesson, you will be taught how to start your speech. So in the IELTS examination and in the first part of the speaking section, you can be probably asked to describe something or someone. So in this section, it is highly important to put your ideas into right order. Therefore, you must know how to put your ideas correctly, how to explain them in a correct way. And for doing this, you will need the following phrases. The first group of phrases are called leading in phrases. So what are they? They can be all right, well, actually, or you know, okay then, or well, first of all. As you can see here, that all of our simple things that you may be using them in your daily language, but you are not aware of them, that they are called leading in phrases. After them, you must use the pointing phrase. And you know, if you want to speak about any kind of theme in the first part of the speaking test, you may probably have 2 or 3 different ideas about this thing. So these pointing phrases can be used for explaining your first and important opinion on this theme. They can be, the first thing I should mention is that, or the point I'd like to begin with is that, next one is, I could start off by saying that, or my initial point would be that. So they can be used after the leading in phrases. Now let's turn to the questions. In the first part of the speaking test, you can be asked these 2 questions frequently. Why? Because in the first part, the test taker wants to get some information about your own life, your personality. Therefore, these 2 questions are really common in the first part of the speaking test. So describing your living area, or speaking about your job or studies if you are a student. Now let's imagine that we will answer the first question using the above mentioned phrases. The first example. Well, first of all, I could start off by saying that it's a lovely and small, maybe even one of the most peaceful villages in Uzbekistan. This is actually my own example because I live in a village, not in the city. Therefore, I have made a sentence about villages. And here you can see 2 different colors. The first group of words in blue are leading in phrase. Well, first of all, next group of words are in red color. I could start off by saying that. And the third group of words are in black. They are making a simple sentence. The sentences you can use by utilizing these phrases in a real examination can be like this. Let's turn to the second example, and it is actually about the city dwellers. Actually, the first thing I should mention is that it's a mid-sized modern city with lots of gorgeous buildings. Here The word actually is the leading in phrase, and the first thing I should mention is that is the pointing phrase for explaining your first idea. And after taking the first step, I mean that giving your own answer for the given question, it is really important to provide some details for your sentence. Now let's see that my first example is provided with some details. Here you can see. Well, first of all, I could start off by saying that it's a lovely and small, maybe even one of the most peaceful villages in Uzbekistan. This is mainly because it's located about 50 kilometers far from the city center. And here, the second sentence, this is mainly because it's located about 50 kilometers far from the city center is used for providing the detail of my first sentence. And next example can be like this. Actually, the first thing I should mention is that it is a mid-sized modern city with lots of gorgeous buildings. In fact, it is the government's attempt to attract foreign investors to enhance structure of cities. So the second sentence, starting with in fact phrase, is providing the details why the cities are modern with lots of gorgeous buildings. So this is the next sentence. In fact, it's the government's attempt to attract foreign investors to enhance the structure of cities. So this sentence is explaining why the cities are modern. Now it's time for turning to the second pointing phrases, and they can be like this. Another point which I could add is that, or a second feature which I should mention is that, or as well as that I could say that. These phrases can be used for explaining the next idea on the topic or on the theme. Now, adding the second point about villages. Another point which I could add is that it is very colored in all seasons of the year for being surrounded with diverse trees. So if you can remember, the first sentence was about its geographical location and simple appearance. Now I am adding the second idea about my village, how it can look like in different seasons of the year. And the second for cities, it can be like this. A second feature which I should mention is that it is a real cosmopolitan, including different nations and cultures. So the first idea was about its appearance and why are the cities modern nowadays, and this example can add some information about its population and the people who dwell in those cities. Now let's see that how our opinions can be effective when we put them together. Here the first and the second sentences are added and joined. Well, first of all, I could start off by saying that it's a lovely and small, maybe even one of the most peaceful villages in Uzbekistan. This is mainly because it's located about 50 kilometers far from the city center. Another point which I could add is that it's very colored in all seasons of the year for being surrounded with diverse trees. And your answers for the questions can be like this if you can use the above mentioned phrases. Now it's time for the second example. It's about city. Actually, the first thing I should mention is that it's a mid-sized modern city with lots of gorgeous buildings. In fact, it is the government's attempt to attract foreign investors to enhance structure of cities. A second feature which I should mention is that it is a real cosmopolitan, including different nations and cultures. Well, now you can take your homework for improving your own examples and for improving your speaking skills, and they can be describing your house, or if you live in a flat, you should speak about your flat. Next, you must speak about your school, college, university, or if you are a graduate and a worker in somewhere, you can speak about your office. And last, you should describe your job. I hope that my first tutorial has been useful for improving your speaking skills, and I will be really happy if my lessons can help you to achieve higher scores in the IELTS examination in future. And take care of yourself. See you next time. Goodbye.